27 years old, one discovery away from a Nobel Prize and then gone. This is the story of Henry Moseley, the genius who put order into the atom, only to vanish from history. Henry Moseley was born in 1887 in England, not into fame, not into power, but into a quiet academic family. His father was a professor, his mother a botanist. You could say curiosity ran in his blood, but Moseley's curiosity was different. Where others saw equations, he saw mysteries waiting to be solved. He wasn't just studying science, he was chasing it like a detective hunts for clues. By the early 1900s, science had a serious problem. The periodic table of elements, which you probably remember from chemistry class, looked neat and tidy. But there were holes, errors, and confusing patterns. Back then, scientists believed the order of elements depended on atomic weight. But this caused chaos. Some elements just didn't fit where they were supposed to. For example, cobalt weighed more than nickel, but it came before it on the table. Why? Nobody knew. The world needed someone brave enough, smart enough, and curious enough to solve the riddle. That someone was Henry Moseley. Moseley joined the famous physicist Ernest Rutherford at Oxford, and here's where things get exciting. Instead of relying on old textbooks, Moseley turned to a brand new technology, X-rays. He had the daring idea, what if each element had its own unique X-ray fingerprint? He fired high-energy electrons at different elements and studied the X-ray patterns they gave off. What he found was astonishing. Each element emitted X-rays at a specific frequency. And when he plotted those frequencies, a hidden order appeared. It wasn't the atomic weight that defined elements. It was the atomic number, the number of protons in the nucleus. This discovery wasn't just big, it was revolutionary. For the first time, the periodic table snapped into place. The confusing errors disappeared. Suddenly, missing elements weren't just guesses. Moseley's method predicted exactly where they should go. In fact, thanks to his work, scientists discovered new elements like technetium, rhenium, and promethium years later, exactly where Moseley had predicted they would be. By 1913, Henry Moseley was on fire. At just 26 years old, he had accomplished what most scientists couldn't do in a lifetime. Some even say he was almost guaranteed to win a Nobel Prize, but history had other plans. When World War I broke out in 1914, Moseley felt it was his duty to enlist. Despite being one of the brightest scientific minds of his generation, the British Army assigned him as a communications officer. On August 10, 1915, during the Gallipoli campaign in Turkey, Henry Moseley was killed by a sniper's bullet. He was only 27, the world of science was shaken. Imagine the man who had unlocked the true order of the elements, gone before he could finish his work. It's often said that Moseley's death changed history. Why? Because after losing him, governments realized something shocking. Sending your best scientists to die on the battlefield was a tragic waste. From then on, Britain made an unofficial policy to protect its top scientists during wartime, ensuring that their genius stayed in the lab, not the trenches. It's chilling to think, if Moseley had lived, how much further would science be today? Multiple Nobel Prizes, maybe even the discovery of new elements decades earlier? We'll never know. He solved the riddle of the elements. He gave us the key to the atom, and yet, he never lived long enough to see how much he had changed the world. So next time you see the periodic table, remember the young man who put it in order. Remember Henry Moseley, the forgotten genius. Subscribe to the channel for more untold stories of genius, mystery, and discovery.